What's going on, everybody? This is your boy, the Sebastian Alexander Bonet, but you can call me His Royal Highness, and welcome to another episode of Rhoyally Fucked. So, hopefully you are going well, doing well, my royals, and that you are having a royally terrific day. So, I'm coming by right now to give you my review of Sylvie's Love. So, I love a good love story. I am a hopeless romantic, and I love black love. I love everything about black love, and I love a good story where it's written. So, I heard great things about Sylvie's Love. I heard it was long. Sure did. But I said, I'm going to check it out, and it's currently streaming on Amazon Prime right now, right? So I'm going to give you the list. It is starring Tessa Thompson as Sylvie Parker, Ndandi Agu as Samunga, as Robert Holloway. Fine, shout out. Side note, that is Kerry Washington's husband. Eva Longoria, Asia Naomi King, I think you remember her from How to Get Away with Murder. Jeremina Kirkle, Tone Bell, Regé-Jean. Oh, really? Now, I just had an epiphany because this thing, I just did a review, I don't know if you saw, I just did a review on Bridgerton. And the guy that played the Duke of Hastings did not put it together. He's also in Sylvie's Love. Regé-Jean Page is his name, but he's in here. Alana Miller, Raquel Hartsford, Tucker Smallwood, Erica Gribble, Kimball, Ryan Michelle Bath, Wendy. Okay, I'm not going through all this. One thing I saw was MC Light, Sora Light, but I didn't see her. It says she was in here, but I did not see her at all in there. But anyways, so this is a black love story that takes place in the 50s and 60s in New York. And it is ultimately about a young man, Robert Holloway, who is a part of a quintet. Can't think of the name of the quintet right now. The Robert Dickey Quintet, something of that nature. Don't remember. But he is a saxophonist. And he and his quintet is playing these gigs down at the Moroccan, I think it's called the Moroccan Room or Morocco Room or something like that. And just not getting paid. Great instrumentalist. He is kind of like the shining star within the bunch or whatnot. And just not really getting paid. And so as he was out looking for a record store, they told him they had to go up to Harlem to find, a black record store to find what he was finding. He was walking with some of his band members and he saw a record store right across the street. He goes in, he sees the signs in the window saying help wanted or whatnot. And this is when he meets Sylvie Parker, right? Played by Tessa Thompson. She was paying him literally no mind, none whatsoever. He came in, Mama was looking at Lucy. I love Lucy. And Mama came in, which was horrible customer service, so that man could have robbed you blind. But he came in asking for, Charlie Parker, somebody. And she was like, it's over there next to something. Never took her eyes off of TV or whatnot, so he goes over there. As he comes in, he takes the help wanted sign out of the window or whatnot, finds what he wants, and then goes up to the counter. And that's when she turns around and they lock eyes and meet, yada, yada, yada. And he asked, well, how much would it be for an employee discount? And then he shows her the help wanted sign, and she goes into this whole spiel like, we're not really hiring anybody. This is my mom. She runs a finishing school. It makes it need to look like we can hire somebody even though we don't need anybody, yada, yada, yada. And her dad comes up and takes the sign up in his hand and says, you're hired because my daughter needs to get up out here and go find some shit to do with her life or whatnot. So he begins to work there, continue to do these, find out that that he and the father, Mr. Parker, they both played, saxophone in bands or whatnot. But Mr. Parker gave it up when he got married, got pregnant, had to find some kind of stable income and this, that, and the other. While playing at the Moroccan Room, there's a white woman named the Countess that becomes their manager because they're getting paid pennies. And so she invites them over to an uptown gig on the Upper East Side of New York. And It is, you know, everything. They meet people and they play for people, and then she insistently becomes their manager. She was like, here's $500, go get you guys some suits or whatnot, and then she politely takes back $100 and she says, well, I get 20%. So 20% of $500, girl, is $100. So she takes somebody back and she said, did anybody ask you who your manager is? He was like, you are. And so great things, I'm not going to make this long, great things happen for the band. She gets them a gig to where they go over to Paris. They become, you know, notoriety. They not become notoriety. They become notarized. People know who they are. They record albums. And then it comes to a point to where Robert is, you know, he and Sylvie, I'm skipping all over the place. He and Sylvie become friends in the course of working at the record store, and he asked her, you know, come down and listen to us at the bar, at the Morocco room, and she came down with her cousin, Mona Lisa, like the painting, came down there, and Mona Lisa went on off with one of the other bandmates, and Robert rocked Sylvie home, and it was immediate attraction. It was kismet. Have you ever met someone or been in the space with someone where you just knew then that that's going to be your wife, that that's going to be your husband, or at least that is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with? That is what it was between them. But Mama was already promised to a doctor who was overseas in the war or something of that nature or whatnot. So they kissed. The very next day, Sylvie came back and said, bitch, it was a mistake. I lost sense of my faculties and the bitch will not happen again. And he was upset by it. He was very upset by it. And Mona Lisa came to a party that, you know, she talked to the other band member, invited her to, the same one that Robert was trying to invite her to, but she cut that shit down saying, I forgot, I made a mistake, yada yada. So she gets there, and Robert ignores her the entire night, right? Ignores her the entire night, but then she gets upset. But bitch, you the one that told me you didn't want to be with me. So how you gonna get upset when you told me you don't want nobody? Bitch, I'm supposed to be miserable like you. And so, long story short, she gets married. She was pregnant. The man came back. The doctor came back, whatever he was, married her at an obligation or whatnot. She didn't want to be married to him. He wanted her to be an at-home housewife, but she had ideas of being in the television, working. I'm not going to give you a recap because I'm getting bored myself. What I want to talk about is the importance of black love, the importance of being in a space to where you can recognize it. Being in a space to where you are able to understand and emotionally intelligent to where, okay, I just met my husband. I just met my wife. I just met the partner that I wanted to be with. And that's ultimately what I got from this movie. This movie, it had it had trauma, but it wasn't the typical shoot 'em up, kill 'em up, black movie, It was a love story. It very much reminded me of movies like Love Jones. It reminded me of movies like, who else? I'm drawing a blank. Just Feel Good Love, The Photograph, that one. Just feel good, no drama, and it just makes you feel good on the inside. And I enjoyed it in that regard. This is a horrible review. And also what I want to talk about is about black men of color, and their complex of having to be the breadwinner. And it made sense at the end, the same way that Sylvie did not tell Robert that she was pregnant because she didn't want him to choose, and knowing that he would stay here and miss out on all of his dreams and this, that, and the other. He did the exact same thing at the end by telling Sylvie that she could not come to Detroit with him while he was going back to unbeknownst work in a factory, right? So we have this thing to where black men of color, we have been taught and ingrained that we have to be the breadwinners. But who says? Who says? If your wife happens to make more money than you, why can't we as black men, and I would probably venture to say all men, why can't we be okay with that? If you are providing to the household, if you are I'm not even going to say picking up the slack as if you are slacking, but why do we have to be so uptight if our woman makes more money than us? I mean, I'm a gay man, y'all all know that, and I'm single, but if I ever married a man that makes more money than me, that would not bother me. I personally don't get it. And even if I was straight, if I married a woman that made more money than me, that wouldn't bother. It wouldn't bother me. As long as the bills are getting paid, as long as I'm putting up, as long as she and I have an understanding that this is what I need to contribute. If I'm contributing half of the bills, and quite frankly, sometimes, even if there's a woman that makes more money than you, sometimes the man's salary can still take care of the needs of the home. So it is not like, okay, you don't have to make enough money and your wife is picking up the slack and you're lesser than. You can make, if the man makes $70,000 a year and the woman makes $150,000 a year, $70,000 a year, depending on how you living, you might be able to take care of your house. Mortgage, rent, the basic bills of the house, mortgage, rent, utilities, things of that nature. If you want to talk about, well, the man takes care of the house and we're living by that role, if you will. But I personally don't get it. And now, mind you, this is a period piece. It is a period piece. So this was the 1950s, 1960s, I believe. No, it wasn't 50. Maybe expanded into the 50s, 60s, or 60s, 70s. Mid-60s, they were talking about voters' rights and all that good stuff. So then, thinking about the mythology of how men operated and how women were just at home and men were the breadwinners, I can see why that was the case. Okay, I'm going to backtrack that. My thought process. But I wonder if that is the same thing now in 2021. Do we have the misguided ideologies or the misguided thoughts or processes that men have to be head of the household or be the breadwinner in their household? And if not, does that make them feel like less of a man, less of whatever they may be feeling? So with that being said, this was a horrible review. But this is my review of Sylvie's Love. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's 2 hours long. Look at it. Figure it out. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe. And other than that, I will talk to you guys later. Peace and much love. Bye.